Let's continue with our lesson number 1.2, Dick Whittington and his cat. Till now, we have seen that Dick went to London and he is working at Mr. Fitzwarren's house as a kitchen helper. But he is not happy there. Why? Because of Cook's bad temper. So, let's just continue and see how Dick became the mayor of the London. Open page number 7. Paragraph 5. One night, Dick decided he could stand it no more. Early the next morning, before the cook was up, he set out with his cat to seek his fortune elsewhere. So what happened? One night, Dick decided that he could not bear the temper of the cook. So, early the next morning, before the cook was up, he set out with his cat to seek his fortune elsewhere. डिक ने डिसाइड किया कि वो अब कुक का टेम्पर नहीं झेल सकता है और वो सुबह कुक के उठने से पहले ही वहाँ से कैट को लेकर निकल गया अपना फॉर्च्यून, अपना फ्यूचर कहीं और बनाने के लिए. The two of them walked as far as Holloway on their way out of London. Then Dick sat down on a stone to rest. It was the 1st of November, All Saints' Day, and the church bells were ringing. As Dick sat and listened, it seemed they were ringing out a message for him. The two of them, means who? Dick and his cat, walked as far as the Holloway. Holloway means it is a large prison for women in North London. वो लोग चलते चलते हॉलोवे तक पहुंच गए थे और वहाँ जाके एक स्टोन पर बैठ गए. इट वॉज 1st of November, मीन्स इट वॉज ऑल सेंट्स डे एंड चर्च बेल्स वर रिंगिंग. चर्च बेल वहाँ पे बज रहे थे एंड ऐसा लग रहा था कि वो कोई मैसेज दे रहे हैं. Turn again Whittington, though worthy citizen, Lord Mayor of London. Turn again Whittington means go back Whittington. Though worthy citizen, you are the worthy citizen. Lord Mayor of London की means के लंदन के मेयर बनने के काबिल. Lord Mayor of London, said Dick. I should like to be Lord Mayor and ride in a fine coach. I can put up with a few scolding from the cook if that is what it is in store for me. So Dick and his cat retraced their steps to Mr. Fitzwarren's house. Luckily, they were able to slip back before they had been missed. Who couldn't want to be a mayor of London, right? मेयर कौन नहीं बनना चाहेगा. सो डिक ने भी यही सोचा कि अगर मुझे मेयर बनने के लिए उस कुक की स्कोल्डिंग्स मीन्स डांट सुननी पड़ी तो क्या हुआ, मैं टॉलरेट करूँगा. ओके, सो डिक एंड हिज कैट वेंट बैक टू मिस्टर फिट्जवारन हाउस. लकीली दे वर एबल टू स्लिप बैक बिफोर दे हैड बीन मिस्ड. किसी को ऐसा लगे कि वो लोग कहीं चले गए हैं उससे पहले ही वो वापस आ गए थे. Now, Mr. Fitzwarren used to send ships far across the sea to trade with other countries. He would load a ship with goods for a captain and ship's crew to sell in a faraway places, and then they would bring back goods that could be sold at home. So, what's Mr. Fitzwarren used to do? Mr. Fitzwarren, he used to send goods means commodities, चीज़ें वो दूसरे कंट्री में भेजते थे और दूसरी कंट्री के गुड्स यहाँ पे मंगाकर उन्हें अपने होम कंट्री में सेल करते थे, यानी उनका वही बिजनेस था. One day he called his household together. I am sending a ship to the African coast to trade, he said. Would any of you like to send something of yours on it? You can then share in the profits if the voyage is successful. So, what happened one day? Mr. Fitzwarren called his household. Household means all the members who were staying in his house. वो सब लोगों को जो उनके घर में रहे थे. Okay, and said that he is sending a ship to the African coast to trade, and if anyone wishes, they can send their things to sale and they can earn profit through it. अगर कोई भी अपनी बनाई हुई चीज़ें बेचना चाहता है तो वो शिप पर भेज सकता है। अगर उनकी चीज़ें सेल हुई तो उनको उसके पैसे मिलेंगे। Everyone produced something except for Dick, who had nothing to offer. Have you nothing of your own, Dick? Asked Mr. Fitzwarren kindly, and Dick replied, Only my cat. Everyone produced something except for Dick. सबने शिप पर भेजने के लिए कुछ न कुछ बनाए थे, सिवाय किसके? डिक के. And when Mr. Fitzwarren asked him, Don't you have anything of your own? So he said, I have only my cat. मिस्टर फिट्जवॉरन ने पूछे कि तुमने क्यों नहीं कुछ बनाए, तो उसने क्या बोला? मेरे पास सिर्फ और सिर्फ क्या है? मेरी ये कैट ही है. Then let your cat go on the ship, said Mr. Fitzwarren. His daughter, Alice, said, Dick loves his cat. Let me put something in for him. But her father said, No, it must be his, not something belonging to someone else. Then Mr. Fitzwarren said that let your cat go on the ship. फिर तुम तुम्हारी कैट को ही शिप पर भेज दो. But Mr. Fitzwarren's daughter, whose name was Alice, said that she can put something on behalf of Dick. वो डिक के नेम पे अपना कुछ सामान देना चाहेंगी. But Mr. Fitzwarren said no, सबको अपना अपना ही देना पड़ेगा, कोई किसी के बिहाफ पर नहीं दे सकता है. So Dick fetched his cat and said goodbye to it sadly. The captain of the ship was delighted, for the cat was an excellent mouser, and so he had no trouble with rats and mice on his voyage. Dick then fetched his cat and said goodbye sadly. Of course उसे sad feel होगा ही, वही तो उसकी one and only friend थी, right? But captain of the ship was happy because he got an excellent mouser. Mouser means animal that catches mice. क्यों खुश था कैप्टन? बिकॉज उसके वो जो कैट थी वो क्या कर सकती थी? जो भी रैट्स या माइस जो भी रहेंगे उनको भगाएंगी, और उनका जो वोयाज है, वोयाज मीन सी का सफ़र अच्छा गुजरेगा. After some months, the ship arrived at a place on the African coast, Barbary, where people called the Moor lived. The captain sent a message to the king to say he had fine goods for sale, and he was invited to the palace to show them. While he was talking to the king and queen, some dishes of foods were brought in, but almost immediately rats and mice ran up, and before the captain's eyes ate all the food. The captain was astonished and asked if this was what normally happened. After some months, the ship arrived at the African coast, and the name of the people was Barbary, and the people who used to live there were called Moors. वहाँ पहुँचने के बाद कैप्टन ने किंग के मैसेज भिजवाया कि उसने फाइन गुड्स सेल करने के लिए लाया है. And then he was invited by the king to the palace, and when he went over there, while he was talking to the king and queen, some dishes of foods were brought. जैसे ही फूड आया वैसे ही वहाँ पे क्या हो गया? और कौन आया? रैट्स एंड माइस आ गए और सारा खाना खा गए. Captain was astonished. Astonished means amazed, shocked, and he asked them, "Is this what happened normally?" यहाँ पे क्या ये ऐसे ही होता है? यहाँ पे इतने सारे रैट्स एंड माइस है. Alas, yes, came the reply. The country is suffering from a plague of rats and mice, and we cannot get rid of them. To this question, he got reply as yes. वो क्या बोले कि हाँ, हमारी जो कंट्री है, plague means great trouble सफ़र कर रही है, trouble of rats and mice, and they could not get rid of them. हमारे कंट्री में क्या है? बहुत से rats and mice है और वो हमको बहुत ज़्यादा ही trouble करते हैं. I think I may have the answer on my ship, said the captain, and he sent a message asking for Dick's cat to be brought to the palace. More food was laid out, and the rats and mice appeared as before. The cat immediately pounced, killing at least a dozen before they scattered. Everyone was delighted, and the queen asked, "What do you call this animal?" Then what happened? Captain said that he had the answer to this on his ship. And he sent a message on his ship asking for Dick's cat. And What happened that उसने डिक्स के कैट को पैलेस में मंगवाया और बोला कि फिर से फूड लेकर आओ। जैसे ही फूड आया वैसे ही रैट्स और माइस फिर से पहले की तरह अपीयर हुए। एंड एज सुन एज द अपीयर कैट इमीडिएटली पाउंस मीन्स अटैक। ओके, अटैक ऑन देम किलिंग एटलीस्ट अ डजन बिफोर दे स्कैटर्ड। कैट ने अटैक की और अटैक करके डजन मीन्स कम से कम 12 माइस या रैट को उसने मार दिया। और ये देखकर सब लोग खुश हो गए। एंड क्वीन आस्क्ड, व्हाट डू यू कॉल दिस एनिमल? ये एनिमल को तुम क्या कह के पुकारते हो? पस इज द नेम शी आंसर टू, said the captain, and when the queen called Puss Puss, the cat went over to her and purred. Then queen asked that what do you call this animal? Okay, तो कैप्टन क्या बोला? हम इसका नाम क्या है? पस है। To this captain replied that her name is Puss. The queen called Puss Puss. Hearing this, the cat went over to queen and purred. Purred means making swishing sound. जैसे ही queen ने पस पस बोली वैसे ही cat queen के पास चली गई। The queen was a little alarmed at first as she had seen how fiercely the cat had attacked the rats and mice, but the captain told her not to be anxious. Puss is very friendly with people, he said, and would soon rid your kingdom of rats and mice. At first the queen was alarmed. Alarmed here it means scared. Queen थोड़ा डर गई थी जब कैट उसके पास चली गई थी। क्यों? क्योंकि क्वीन ने कैट को अटैक करते हुए देखी थी, राइट? तो उसको लगा कि कहीं वो उस पर भी अटैक ना कर दे। बट कैप्टन सेड दैट पर्स इज वेरी फ्रेंडली विथ पीपल। वो पीपल के साथ फ्रेंडली रहती है। वो तुम्हारे किंगडम के सारे रेड्स और माइस को क्या करेगी? भगाएंगी। I would give great wealth to own this animal, said the queen. क्वीन क्या बोली कि वो इस एनिमल के बदले ग्रेट वेल्थ देंगी, यानी बहुत सारा पैसा देंगी। So the captain began bargaining, and it was agreed that the king would buy the whole cargo from Mr. Fitzwarren's ship to pay a fine price for it, and for the cat alone the king paid 10 times the sum again. So the captain began bargaining. Bargaining means पैसे कम ज़्यादा करना, राइट? जैसे हम शॉपकीपर के पास जाते हैं, राइट, तो बोलते हैं फॉर एग्जाम्पल 10 रुपये की चीज़ 8 रुपये में मांगना। ओके, सो इट वॉज डिसाइडेड दैट द किंग वुड बाय द होल कार्गो फॉर मिस्टर फिट्जवॉरन शिप। किंग जितने भी गुड्स थे शिप में उतने खरीदेगा और सिर्फ डिक के कैट के लिए जितने भी गुड्स के अमाउंट होंगी उससे 10 टाइम्स ज़्यादा पैसे देगा, यानी 10 गुना ज़्यादा पैसे देगा सिर्फ और सिर्फ उस कैट के लिए। When the ship came back to the port of London, the captain showed Mr. Fitzwarren the gold and jewels he had brought from Barbary and told him the story of the cat. The merchant sent for Dick. From now on, Dick, he said, we should all call you Mr. Whittington, for you are a rich man. Mr. Fitzwarren then paid him all the money the captain had received for the cat. And when the ship returned back to the London, the captain showed Mr. Fitzwarren the gold and jewels he had brought from Barbary and told him the whole story about the Dick cat. Captain ने सारी story Mr. Fitzwarren को बताई. Then Mr. Fitzwarren called Dick and told him that from now onward we will call you Mr. Whittington because you are rich now. And he gave all the money which he had received from the cat. जितने भी पैसे मिले थे कैट के लिए मिस्टर फिट्जवॉरन ने सारे के सारे डिक को दे दिए। From this time on, Dick worked with Mr. Fitzwarren and became a successful merchant himself. He married Mr. Fitzwarren's daughter Alice, and 3 times he was elected Lord Mayor of London. He was also in time knighted by the king and became Sir Richard Whittington. He was not only famous but he was popular too, for he always helped the poor with his money. फिर तब से डिक और मिस्टर फिट्जवॉरन साथ में काम करने लगे और वो भी सक्सेसफुल मर्चेंट बन गया था। मर्चेंट मीन्स बिजनेसमैन। एंड ही मैरिड मिस्टर फिट्जवॉरन डॉटर एलिस एंड 3 times he was elected as a mayor of London. वो लंदन के मेयर 3 टाइम बना, ओके, एंड ही वॉज ऑल्सो नाइटेड. नाइटेड मीन्स ऑनर्ड विथ टाइटल, उसको टाइटल दिया गया. फॉर एग्जाम्पल वी कॉल गांधी जी एस बापू, राइट. लाइकवाइज ही ऑल्सो बिकम सर रिचर्ड विटिंगटन. उनका नाम क्या था? डिक विटिंगटन, बट उनको टाइटल कौन सा दिया गया था? सर रिचर्ड विटिंगटन. और वो सिर्फ फेमस ही नहीं, बहुत पॉपुलर भी थे. वाई? बिकॉज ही यूज टू हेल्प द पुअर पीपल. वो पुअर पीपल की हेल्प करते थे. Sometime when he was old, he would tell his grandchildren the story of his cat and how the bells of the London had called him back when he was only a poor boy. Sometimes what happened when he was old, जब वो बूढ़े हो गए थे, he used to tell his story to his grandchildren about the cat and how the bells of the London called him back when he was a poor boy. और वो अपने grandchildren को अपनी story बताते थे अपने cat के बारे में, और जो बेल्स बजे थे, चर्च बेल जो हमने स्टार्टिंग में देखे थे, और उनको जो मैसेज मिला था उसके बारे में वो स्टोरी अपने ग्रैंडचिल्ड्रन को बताते थे. Turn again Whittington, though worthy citizen, Lord Mayor of London. These were the message from whom? The church bell. और यही चर्च मैसेज सुन के डिक विटिंगटन वापस से मिस्टर फिट्जवॉरन के पास रहने आ गए थे, right? So our lesson is complete now. If you have any problem, then you can contact me, okay? Take care, bye-bye.